Homologous structures are better explained by common intelligent design rather than naturalistic universal common descent. Homologous structures, anatomical similarities across different species, are claimed by some atheists to be the best evidence for naturalistic universal common descent, UCD. The idea that all life forms share a common ancestor from which they have gradually diverged. However, these similarities are better explained by a common intelligent design rather than by the random processes of evolution. This video explores how the concept of a common intelligent designer provides a more coherent explanation for homologous structures than naturalistic universal common descent. The traditional view: homology as evidence for common descent. In evolutionary biology, homologous structures are those that share a similar anatomy allegedly due to inheritance from a common ancestor. For example, the forelimbs of vertebrates, such as the wings of bats, the flippers of whales, and the arms of humans, are considered homologous because they exhibit a similar underlying bone structure, despite their different functions. This similarity is typically interpreted as evidence that these species evolved from a common ancestor with a similar limb structure. Over time, natural selection is thought to have modified these structures for different functions in different environments, resulting in the diverse forms we observe today. However, this interpretation is based on the assumption that similarity in structure necessarily implies a shared evolutionary history. While this assumption is widely accepted within the evolutionary framework, it fails upon closer examination. The case for common intelligent design. A better explanation for homologous structures is that they result from a common intelligent design rather than from common descent. This perspective posits that an intelligent designer, working with a purposeful plan, reused effective design principles across different species to achieve similar functions or structural benefits. Consider the example of human-designed machines. Engineers often reuse successful designs across different contexts. The wheels on a car, a bicycle, and a cart are similar not because these vehicles evolved from a common ancestor but because wheels are an efficient solution to the problem of transportation. Similarly, an intelligent designer can employ similar anatomical structures across different species because those structures effectively fulfill specific functional requirements. Functional constraints and optimal design. One of the strongest arguments for common design is the concept of functional constraints. Certain structures are optimal solutions to particular functional challenges, and thus, it is reasonable to expect their recurrence in different organisms as a result of common design. For instance, the basic structure of the vertebrate eye is remarkably consistent across a wide range of species. Evolutionary theory would attribute this consistency to common ancestry, with subsequent modification over time. However, from a design perspective, the eye's structure is an optimal solution for vision, reused across different species because it is highly effective. This interpretation aligns with the concept of functional constraints, where certain designs are simply the best solutions to specific biological problems. Moreover, the widespread occurrence of similar structures in vastly different environments and contexts supports the idea of a common design. For example, the streamlined body shape of fish and dolphins is highly similar, yet these species belong to entirely different evolutionary lineages, one a fish, the other a mammal. This similarity is more logically attributed to a common design tailored to the demands of efficient movement through water, rather than to convergent evolution or distant common ancestry. The problem of convergent evolution. Convergent evolution is claimed, by evolutionary biologists, to be a phenomenon where similar traits evolve independently in different species that do not share a close common ancestor. This falsifies the claim that homology is the result of common descent. If similar structures can allegedly evolve independently, then the presence of similar allegedly homologous structures does not indicate naturalistic common descent. From a design perspective, the similarity of features is more easily explained, for features that evolutionary biologists attribute to convergent evolution, where there is no shared common ancestor. Similar environments and functional requirements can lead an intelligent designer to implement similar design solutions across unrelated species. For example, the wings of birds, bats, and insects are all adapted for flight but differ significantly in their underlying structure, showing that they are not homologous in the evolutionary sense. However, their functional similarity makes sense in the context of an intelligent designer using different approaches to solve the same problem, flight. Genetic homology and the complexity of life. The argument for common design extends beyond anatomical structures to the genetic level. Genetic similarities between species are often claimed to be evidence for naturalistic common descent. However, genetic similarities are better interpreted as evidence of a common designer using similar genetic building blocks to construct different organisms. Consider the case of the genetic code, which is nearly universal across all forms of life. Evolutionary theory posits that this universality is due to inheritance from a common ancestor. However, from a design perspective, the use of a universal genetic code is a rational choice by an intelligent designer to ensure compatibility and stability across all forms of life. The genetic code's efficiency and robustness make it an ideal system for encoding biological information, and thus, it is rational for a designer to use it across different species. Moreover, the presence of non-homologous genes that perform similar functions in different species, genes that do not appear to have been inherited from a common ancestor, shows that a common design is a better explanation than naturalistic universal common descent. These non-homologous genes demonstrate that similar functions can arise from entirely different genetic sequences, further falsifying the claim that genetic similarity is conclusive evidence of common descent. Circular reasoning. One of the most significant philosophical challenges in using homology as evidence for naturalistic universal common descent is the problem of circular reasoning. The argument often assumes that similarity must be due to common descent, and then uses that assumption to interpret similarities as evidence for common descent. This circular reasoning can be avoided by considering common intelligent design as a better explanation. By recognizing that homologous structures result from an intelligent designer reusing effective design principles, we break the circularity of the argument above. Conclusion. While homology has traditionally been interpreted as evidence for naturalistic universal common descent, the concept of common intelligent design is a better alternative explanation. By viewing homologous structures as the result of purposeful design rather than random evolutionary processes, we can account for the similarities observed across different species in a way that aligns with the principles of functional constraints, optimal design, and the reuse of effective solutions. This perspective not only challenges the assumption that homology necessarily indicates common ancestry but also provides a coherent framework for understanding the complexity and diversity of life as the product of an intelligent designer's plan. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and comment below if you agree or would like to add your thoughts. If you would like me to respond to your comment, please make a level 1 comment directly below the video. I will respond to all polite level 1 comments even if it takes me a while, due to other commitments.